Hey, we're live. How about that? Hi, everybody. How are you out in YouTube world today? We'll see if anybody joins us here. But welcome to live number 2 with Susie and me. I'm Brendan. So today, first, a few things right off the bat. I want to mention that we're starting at noon Paris time. We have a hard out, meaning when we got to go, because Susie has some business in the city of Paris, which will take her a little while to get there and get everything going. Mm-hmm. So so we're going to pack as much as we can into this hour. So how are you doing today, Susie? We'll catch our breath before we get going here.
I had a good coffee in the morning. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome very much. She makes excellent coffee too, but she, I like to make coffee for my wife, and she likes my magic touch with an espresso machine. I can't take too much credit. So
I love Brendan making me coffee in the morning and cocktail in the afternoon.
Yeah, and notice you said afternoon. We don't play we don't play around here. We're professionals. Although I kicked into doing a keto diet again, so. Oh. I have limited drinks. Sorry, hair in my mouth. It's alive. See, you don't see that when we do the actual proper videos that require some editing. You don't see the random things. But yeah, Susie has a nice white wine spritzer that's pretty much the drink of the day. Lately, we were doing some rum up until recently. Used to be rum drinks.
Well, I love the one time we got some fruit smoothie, like cubes in Picard. So see, in summer, Picard usually has the frozen fruit thing. I think that's for smoothie. It's easy to use instead of making your own. But I use that as an ice cube. I put that in my drinks. So it's I'm making myself sangria.
It's a sangria.
Sangria.
You're like French people trying to say Shanghai. You can't pronounce it in reverse.
Sangria, just some wine plus some fruit, ice cube. It tastes really well in this hot summer day.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And we recycled some other fruits. We had apricots recently because Jenny saw them in the store and had to have them. And then when if you go shopping with a toddler, or if you have gone shopping with a toddler, you know what we're talking about. So first, we want to thank. We had 6 new subscribers overnight. Thank you. Hi, new people. Thank you people who've been here, and hello, new people. We are very glad to have you with us. And that was a nice little bump to see. So let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. We have a nice little outline that I'm referring to down here. So first, we're going to talk about Susie's breakout online Française video, which is how many of you discovered the channel. Not all. We'll get to that in a second, but many of you discovered the channel via that video and then have stuck around. So thank you for that. So we'll talk about that. And I did one too. Some of you saw that. So also thank you for that. Then we'll talk about Duolingo for a little bit. So we'll focus on our language learning bucket of Chez Davis here at the beginning of this. But there's a lot more to what we do. So we're going to talk about some of that as well. So my Duolingo video, I'm actually going to change shirts and record it in this very spot. When she goes to Paris, I'm going to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, probably, maybe 15. We'll see. But I'm going to record mine. It's ready to go. I've got it outlined and I'm ready to rock to do that. So that video will be our Sunday. The way we're doing our schedule, let me just tell you this now, is that we will start to do videos. Basically, there will be 2 new content type videos every week. We will do Sunday at 6 p.m. Paris time. Will be sort of our main video of the week. And, it's language learning or relocation, logistics, functioning in Paris. Once you live here, tips and tricks and things we've learned and seen. And then we will have a second bucket, which came up with a very original name. Wait for it. Wildcard Wednesdays. So Wednesdays are things that are more in the fun, interesting bucket. So things like this week, which this will be live by the time you see this on the replay, getting to that too. So Sundays will be kind of the focus video of the week, if you think of it like that. Sort of the super Sunday video, to beat my football metaphors to death. Then Wednesday's Wild Card Wednesday, and this will be our cruise on the Seine River, the Seine. I say it for me. I know how it's supposed to be pronounced.
I don't know.
But how do you say it? No,
I say that in Chinese. That's why it's so difficult.
How do you say it in Chinese?
Sightseeing places.
How do you say it in Chinese?
In Chinese, it's 莱茵河. So pretty.
莱茵河.
莱茵河.
Well, that's easy for me to say. 莱茵河.
莱茵 River.
That's easy for me to say than properly pronouncing Seine. I never know if it's Seine or Seine.
And also the river in London.
The Thames. The Thames.
Yeah, the Chinese even sounds even better than that one.
What's the Chinese name?
It's a 泰晤士河, 泰晤士 River.
泰晤士.
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 Yeah, it sounds really real. The Chinese characters are great. I mean,
okay. Nice. Well,
yeah,
hey.
and easy to pronounce for me.
Well, there you go. There you go. So our video about the river in Paris, we took this really cool tour of Paris, sort of seeing the monuments. And it starts at Pont Neuf, which it means Bridge 9 in Anglais. We got on this 1-hour excursion with a bunch of her students from her current language school. And it was great. We took Jenny. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. And I shot, being a director, can't turn this hat off. I shot 4K video of the whole trip one way, because then it turns around. And I shot a little bit coming back too, to get a few different angles. But I went through it all, and I told her, it's like, I mean, there's stuff that's just for us that I won't bore you with. There's lots of stuff of, my wife and daughter, and there's a few little snippets of that in there, so you can see a cute baby for a few moments. But it's mostly these monuments, and unless you've done the same trip, you haven't seen the monuments from this angle. So it's pretty cool. So what we
strikingly beautiful.
It's really something. And instead of us, and by us I guess I mean me, talking the whole way through it, narrating, oh, here's the Notre Dame, and it was built in blah 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 blah. It's like I put it to music in the edit. I just put it to music, and I'm using a piece of music that I wrote years ago, and it's actually the theme song. I didn't have time to change before the live, so I'm still wearing one of my crew shirts from my short film, The Unwinding, that I made. We shot it in London in April 2023. Came out. It popped up. We put it on YouTube in 2024, and it's had this amazing response and reaction. You can see that on my personal channel. I did a community post about like my backstory as a filmmaker. That there's a video on my personal channel, my personal /filmmaker channel. So you can see that there. And if you're interested, but why was I talking about that? Was London. I didn't have time to change. That's the point. This is what I was wearing prior to the video. So I just like brush my hair, and here we go. Susie's ready. Susie's ready to go talk to fancy French people. But we will do a similar video. This kind of Susie's backstory. She'll do a video that tells you kind of her sort of amazing life journey from Ordos, Inner Mongolia, to here in 5 minutes, roughly. No pressure. No pressure. You might talk an hour, and then I'll cut it down to 5 minutes and put some nice pictures that illustrate the points. That's how we do it. So, hi, there's someone who keeps popping in and out. I do that too. I'm guilty of that. When I see one of the channels that I follow is going live, I'm like, oh, they're live. I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle of this. I want to either I don't care, and they have a peek. Either I don't care, or I'll check it later when I got context.
Jenny, peekaboo.
Exactly. And one thing I'll mention, I noticed on the last live stream, there were a lot of people commenting in the chat at different times where our little view who's online counter was not reflect. It was like less than the people I'm seeing like in the chat live. So if you're there, please say hi. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you're watching the replay, put them in the comments, because yes, we read those, and our channel's not that big yet, so we have plenty of time to read our comments. We love all the comments we get. But yeah, if you have any questions or thoughts, or just want to say hi, you can do that later as well if you're not here live at this moment. But so the schedule moving forward, I said Sunday, Super Sunday is like our focus video of the week, the one that we think it appeals to the broadest amount of people. I probably leaned into the edit the most in terms of how much sort of, okay, lots of pretty pictures and really illustrate this, lots of graphics. That was the one that really was the production of the week. Then the Wednesday video, the Wildcard Wednesday, is something like the Seine River Cruise, our crazy East meets West hot pot in the backyard fun thing we did a couple of weeks ago. We'll be doing these fun personal things, cultural things that also might be interesting, to you. They're not just home movies, of course, although they also are cool home movies that now we have on YouTube. And then on Friday is when the replay of this here live and its future brothers and sisters, that will be coming out on Fridays. So Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, that's our long form video release schedule. And part of why we're not going to make this live right after it happens, because just a little under the hood, so YouTube takes a while to generate the full HD. I mean, we're using a webcam, and this is a pretty new laptop. It's high end. It looks really good to us right now, but the video you see online kind of looks like booty, to be clear. But it looked way more booty immediately after it's processing a really pixelated version of it. So the replay of this will be Friday, and also that will give me time to get under the hood to clean up all the subtitles. YouTube can't even auto-generate those subtitles. It took about 24 hours last time to do it all. And there were all kinds of random weird things and just, again, a little under the hood behind the scenes thing. If you don't have a YouTube channel that you sort of actively, put content on and don't know this, they show your channel to people who might be interested by way of those words in what you say, what they scan from the videos. And because there were so many weird misspellings, we got some of the most random, hi if you're here or watching this later, but man, we got some random keyword, like these aren't even words. They're not words in English, French, or Chinese, or Spanish, to my knowledge, because it was misunderstanding in the auto correct. So we'll also be doing daily shorts. Shorts will pop up. There will be at least one a day that's typically like a little highlight nugget from one of the long form videos. And then we occasionally have a shorts idea for something that's kind of funny or we think is interesting, but we'll do dedicated shorts where we just are doing that specifically as a short. But it'll also be little tidbits of the longer form things so you can kind of sample it, be a little appetizer, see if you're interested. So yeah, and then we'll highlight some of the comments that some of you made from the beginning of the channel. We didn't have time to do that last week. And then we'll wrap everything up. So let's start. Susie, your Breakout Alliance Française video. Most of the people watching this, most of them came to the channel because they saw your video and then they stuck around. What was that like for you to share your experience?
First of all, I kind of wish I had somebody told me that what it's like to have intensive courses. If I know that, I probably, I'm not sure. Probably I will still go for intensive because I was so confident at the moment. I was so motivated to learn French ASAP. I felt like I need to know French now. But now I'm thinking if I know it more, like now, I would make a different calls at the moment, I think. So I'm kind of jealous somebody have the know the video first. But also, like what I said, it's it feels like a time capsule, time machine. It brings with the one keyword, Alliance Française, bring people from different space, different time. People learn French in the 90s. Because of this, we can all talk about this in different times, and even we have one study French in India.
That's right. That's right.
That's so great.
Yeah. I love how it's had people share their experiences And actually, before I get too deep into this, I did forget one thing because I handwrote it in the margins. Instead of being printed on my paper, I handwrote it. And even I can't read my writing. I wanted to sort of soft announce that we are working on, we say in our welcome video, we're not here to sell you a course. We're not here to sell you a course. We don't have the time. I don't know what we would do, but we do know what we know that's valuable that we're going to share with people. And so we are working currently, as I'm speaking these words, we are working on a future Frenchie relocation roadmap, which will be start to finish of if you have the idea to try to move to France, all the way to getting here, getting settled, getting your life basically set up, and you know, then it's up to you. But we're working on this, and I want to keep it under 100 pages, which is the challenge. But I think it's going to be 50, 60 pages, super dense, full of info and all the links. Like, oh, I have to figure out what kind of visa I need. How do I apply? All the way to, oh, I want to rent a place. Where do I look for places? What do I need? How do I get these documents together? How do I get a rental guarantee? Oh, we've got kids. We got to deal with school, preschool, daycare, healthcare. How do we open a bank account? How do we get a cell phone? All this kind of nuts and bolts stuff that you need to actually do this. So whether it's a thing that like you're planning to do, maybe you're in the middle of it right now, and it would be helpful to have like a nice, oh, okay, so we're here in the process and these are the next things. Or whether you're just curious, you know, maybe you're super happy, don't have no plans to leave. Maybe you visit France occasionally, or maybe you just, you know, enjoy our personalities or something. And there's no wrong answers here. But regardless of why you watch, this may be of interest to you. And we're also going to do, that'll be like a product we can sell on here because, you know, the channel's not monetized yet. And we are trying to do this as a business eventually because we enjoy it. You know, I'm a professional filmmaker, but between like projects that pay the bills, they're often years. And so there's a lot of years of development, et cetera, et cetera. And then you do the thing, and then in theory, that carries you to the next thing. But because COVID and because a lot of the things, there have been some gaps in our life, and we enjoy this and it's fun, you know.
It's sort of like a virtual notebook for a family. We've been through so much. We have so much. We wanted to write down these experiences, these things we learned, these mistakes we made, and we so much want to write everything down. And if we can write down visually, that's even better. It's we have so much, especially even before Jenny was born, and we've been separated for during the whole COVID era.
Yeah,
there was so much stuff. Yeah. We should do this. We should have been do this for a long time, and I'm glad we finally started doing this.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too. And you know, so doing the channel is, again, it's a fun thing that we would do anyway, just, you know, to some degree, but we decided, you know, let's really try to do this. And there are a few people coming on. So hello to new folks. We're just getting into the good stuff. So stick around. Don't bail on us yet. I saw somebody bail. Anyway, I'll try not to be distracted by the view counter. I should put a Post-it note over that. But yeah, we have really this mission to flatten the learning curve, because we are in the learning curve with some stuff ourselves, and we have a lot of administrative move to France. So we have a lot of those things that are still unresolved for us. Like we know what to do pretty much all around. However, there's the other side, you know, meaning the government, and they need this paperwork. Oh, you got to sign this in Swahili, or, you know, it's like all the rules and tricks and tips that all the hoops you have to jump through. It's enough to make you crazy. And that explains our general sort of nature.
We have lots of happy moments.
Yeah.
Plus probably same amount, if not more, same amount of frustration.
Yeah, it's pretty wacky. So so the channel will hopefully address a lot of that stuff for people, plus just be fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, part of this channel is meant to be experience what life like here is like, which is why we're doing the Sun River Cruise video. It'll come out today as I'm recording. Today's we're live, so that's live by the time you're watching this on replay, and it's 12 minutes with music. It's a nice relaxing little mini break. You know, you can just have like little sort of like little meditation break
Mm-hmm.
on your lunch break or before you go to bed or something. You can just, you know, you can skip the intro. We talk for a minute to say what it is. And then there's like 12 minutes of just floating on the Seine, looking at all these pretty monuments. And I really worked on it in the edit to like make the color great and everything. So it looks really nice. So yeah, Alliance Française video, Susie did hers.
Mm-hmm.
I did mine. And at the time we shot it, we framed it as I react. And I played hers and I reacted to the certain moments, which was useful for that specific video. But I also had a lot of my own stuff to share. I mean, I think that you did such a good job. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel and start from scratch. It didn't make sense to, because I assumed most people probably watch your video, then would watch my video. And if you didn't do it like that, you missed out, because hers is really good. But then we did your Duolingo video, which is live now, and it's just starting to kind of find an audience. And that's really about her experience using it, how she integrates it into her study plan. My video is not a reaction to her video. It's completely different. Completely different. I'm going to be looking at Duolingo in terms of what it does great, what it does good to okay, and what it's either not built for or it kind of sucks at, to be fair. And that's the focus of my video. So I'll talk about it. And I've done a lot of research on this. And, you know, me and Mrs. ChatGPT have been burning the midnight pixels, researching, outlining. I asked GPT to pretend that you are a professor emeritus of linguistics at the world's top language learning university. Break this down for me. And so, yes, so we have a heck of an outline. It's going to be pretty tight. I think it'll be under 15 minutes. It might be 10 minutes or so, but it will give you an idea, like Susie's video did, of how, you know, if you're using it, here's why you like it. And you probably know some of this, like it's gamified, etc. That's a feature and a bug. It's a feature because it makes you daily, you know, hit that. If you know the old lab experiment when they're studying the addictive properties of various drugs, cocaine's the first, but they had rats in a cage and there was food here and there's cocaine there. And they would hit a little button or something to get like a little pellet of whatever. And they just kept hitting the button for the cocaine. So anyway, that's apropos of nothing except to say that Duolingo makes you hit that button to get that little dopamine fix, that little dopamine hit. That's keeps you engaged, but it's also, it can trick you into think you're making progress when you're not really making a lot of progress. I have a Duolingo score of 23.8. I mean, they don't give you a point. I'm almost to 24. I've been using it for 5 years. Susie has a Duolingo score of what? 70, 78, I think. 70. She has a Duolingo score way higher than mine. She's into, are you still in B1?
Yeah, B1 worth 1/4, 25%.
Nice. Yeah. So she's been using it, you know, 3 years less than me, and she's way farther ahead. I have an unbroken streak, but there are many days where I've just done like one of the quick little word exercises, and that's my Duolingo for the day. But we talked about what's coming up. And so future videos, let's talk about some of the big long form stuff we're going to do. In terms of the Super Sunday, like kind of the focus video of the week, we have stuff on moving, you know, relocation. This is a topic that people have a lot of questions about, visas and whatnot. But what are some of the other ideas that we've had? We've had so many ideas, it's kind of hard to keep track, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. So some of the other videos we want to make, things you should, like top 10 things you should and should not bring to France, and why, for instance. What are a couple of yours? You had some funny ones on both buckets. I'll give you a little live preview of some of these ideas.
I brought so many stuff. Most of them are baby Jenny stuff. Wow, such a big question.
Maybe you have to wait for the video.
Yeah, but I'm really happy we got lots of power converter extension.
Yeah. It's so we'll detail things that you need, whether you're traveling. Some things are useful just specifically if you're just visiting, but you're not, not moving your whole operation to France. Some things are just useful if you're visiting. We'll do a few videos that sort of shortcut like all the various processes. And then also give you a deep dive on the different things you deal with. Some of the things we'll talk about in the relocation roadmap, and my Americans Moving to France video, I mentioned this last week, but if you didn't see that or didn't hear it, it says Americans Moving to France. And that video it has a long watch time. It doesn't have a ton of views, but when people watch it, they watch it. I can see all the statistics under the hood and such. And that seems to be proving really useful, plus also the comments I've gotten on there about it. But it really applies to anyone. So even if you're not American, but you want to move here, that's a good quick start. Like pretty much everything in there applies to you, whether you're, in Boston or Bangladesh. I mean, like it's the same process of what you got to do and the steps you need to do it. And then in terms of the Wildcard Wednesdays, we have a lot of fun stuff. We're also going to do the Travels with Chez Davis series. We'll slot into the Wildcard Wednesday. So the next one we have to do, we just need hours in the day to record our talking about it. Cause the footage was shot when we were there, but we have all these trips that we took either before we moved proper, but we were here for several months. We had like a 4-month honeymoon reunion, as we talked about extensively in other videos. But, we spent a week in Porto, which is not enough time, but it's enough time to make a cool video and show you what we saw and talk about it. We went up to the northeast England countryside, and we spent 6 weeks there, which was awesome. We spent time in and out of London, like one very intense week to make the unwinding in 2023 before we made our way back to Beijing. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know if you would like some videos about life back in China. Maybe you're curious about that as well. What were you gonna say?
I do have these kind of moments that because we move so much, so often, just sometimes you wake up in the night, or you wake up in the morning. You need a second to realize where I am.
I have had that a lot, and I still have it. Although we're settled in here to our house, I have that once in a while now too. Yeah. And it comes from, in my case, we moved a ton, throughout my life as a kid, and then I've moved and traveled for work a ton. I was a technician in the film business before I was a writer, director, and producer, which has been like the last 20 solid years has been in that category. But before that, I was a location sound technician. I also was an editor, which was less moving with editing, but with sound, I worked all over the world really. And so many times I'd wake up and maybe I was dreaming about something, and I wake up totally dislocated and disembodied of where the heck I am. Yeah. But I still have some of that now.
Yeah, me too. A lot.
How do you kind of get back into the present? Just take your time and wake up, or is there
Yeah. I just the other day, I was the other day at night I was sleeping with Jenny, and she was kind of sleeping on half of my arm, which my arm gets so numb. I can't feel my arm. I feel like my arm's so numb. It's swelling. Yeah, I can't. I'm for a second I thought I'm losing my arm. I had to quickly get up and shake it. Just feel like, oh, okay, my arm is still okay. My hands are fine.
Yeah.
You know, small babies, they like us in the night, they just like swimming here and there. Sometimes I wake up, Jen's head is on the other side of the bed. Sometimes it's totally on me. Sometimes I can't feel my hands. So
Yeah, Susie does a lot of co-sleeping with Jenny, depending on how hard it is to get her down. We have what amounts to a double bed for Jenny. It's actually a little bit bigger than that, and so it's enough room that Susie can crash with her if she needs to. So sometimes she falls. She'll usually lie down and take a little nap with Jenny to get Jenny to sleep, and then sometimes she just don't wake up. She normally does. She normally wakes up and gets to work for 3 hours in the night, but sometimes she's just in there. Sometimes she's not in the bedroom. I'm like, okay, there she is. So let's do this. And this video may not go the full hour depending on how chatty we get on the comments. We're going to pop over to my other browser window. So I got to put on the cheaters here because that's what happens. And so you probably see light reflections. So what I want to do is we have a lot of great comments. I want to first look at a few recent comments that people have put, and we have some kind of a reply in the actual comments, but often we can expand on it or something else has occurred to us to say. And just as a general note, because I manage kind of the back end, I'm usually the one typing the comments, but for Susie's specific stuff, I go, hey, somebody said so-and-so, or she will have seen something and say, hey, yeah, tell them I said this. Okay, cool. So I'll type a lot of Susie's comments, but it's me doing the typing. So sometimes my voice bleeds into it. I'm not always cosplaying Susie, although that happens once in a while because I know the answer to the question and she's doing something and I'll say, oh, by the way, here's what you said to so-and-so. She'll say, okay, cool. And I can't remember what it was. I won't rehash it, but I know I've edited at least one comment after I talked to her. I'm like, well, I had the information right, but that's not what she cares about. So, okay, let me go back in here and re-edit this. So I have not had a chance. We saw this comment while we were taking our daughter to daycare this morning at the bus stop, and we were waiting on the bus. Janice Stoner wrote, she asked from Susie's Alliance Française video, she said, so what school do you recommend for a complete beginner? And you had a really good answer to this that I haven't had time to type for you yet. So let's tell Janice Stoner what you said and everybody else who's curious about that question.
So what school do I recommend for a complete beginner? I wouldn't recommend you a school. Instead of a school, I think we should spend more time to know the courses, the program, and the teacher. I have an example I use for Brendan. It's like instead of choosing a hair salon, you choose the guy cutting your hair and your hairstyle, because those guys sometimes they work in multiple hair salons, and even within one hair salon, they're different. Some guys are good at this, some guys are good at that. So, for example, if Alliance Française is closer to you and you're not worried about too much about the rates, spend more time on study their programs and choose for a complete beginner. I would suggest you to start a normal paced courses instead of the one I took intensive. That's too much for a complete beginner. So in Paris, they either have intensive or semi-intensive. But from all the comments below, I realized there are normal pace courses in other places. So go check those schools available to you, you have access to, and ask about their courses, their programs, and how much time they teach each week, and how many hours each day. And most importantly, try to know the students already studied there before, and ask about the reputation, the teachers, their style. Ask about that. I think those are much more important than a school. And for example, I went to Alliance first, right?
Mhm.
And after I finished my courses, and Brandon went there. So the way,
So set up, then back to you. So again, we talked about this previously. She did the 1 month intensive. I watched the baby before she was in daycare. Then the next month we traded. And so it was different teachers, because the teachers who had taught A1, the two different sections of A1 when she went, they were now teaching A2 with, people who moved into A2 right away, plus the new people who came into A2. And so there were new teachers who cycled back and did A1. And there were two different teachers. And I initially got booked. I'm not going to say names, because I actually heard from other people, oh, she's great. I loved her. I heard, once I was there, I heard from people who really liked this teacher. But on one of Susie's, I think it was on Little Red Book or something, right, where you were finding out about teachers. Somehow we heard that the one teacher, there was one of the two options for teachers that didn't have like a super, or maybe it was it word of mouth, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
that's it's when you sign up, they randomly put you into those classes.
Mhm.
There might be like two different teachers teach two different, or three teachers A1, and for your months, and you were assigned to one of the classes,
Right.
And I asked Brendan to ask who the teacher might be at that month, and you were. He knows
it gives you the name.
He knew the name, and asked around those students, because I already I studied there before Brendan, so I know some students there. So I asked around, and turns out his first teacher he got assigned to wasn't very, very good, and we know who is the best.
Yeah.
So Brendan take a day just to went to the school and change the classes, change to another one. So this is a much more important than choosing a school. You want a good teacher suits you, and you want courses that suits your pace, instead of finding maybe a school closer to you is the best, because studying language is a long run. You want this to be, you can do it in half year, in 1 year. You can do it every week. So make it easy to you, right?
Yeah. Find something find something you can stick with. And by definition, that's going to be something that's convenient for you and something that's affordable for you. And again, Alliance Française, it's way cheaper. Every Paris is I think Paris is the most expensive. It may be as expensive in a few other major cities like London, possibly, but it's infinitely cheaper. And so we were paying the equivalent of about 20 euros an hour for the intensive here. And then the person we talked to, who's further down the comments page I'm looking at, and I'll shout, I think it's him, if I remember correctly. I'll shout him or her out when I see it. But we did the math, and it works out to I think it was 2 or 3 euros an hour. Actually, they said dollars. They said it's like $3 an hour. So it's much. And of course, India's economy, average wage in India, average wage here versus average wage in other places. So they have affordable options. In other places, Alliance Française apparently has, they offer more of the semester style approach, like Susie's current school, the Center of France Asia that she attends. And they're not on the comments, but I do want to take this moment. So Janice, hopefully that answers your question. It's more about the teacher than the school. It's more about it's more about the person than the room that they're in. AF does have an extensively developed curriculum. We both learned the same things in roughly the same order, and it's just a different delivery method. So it came down to the teacher. I wanted to say that in the US, I don't know the name of the site. I don't remember it. I used to be a university professor for film, teaching filmmaking and film producing in Los Angeles for years, on and off between projects. And this came up after my time. I'd like to think I would have gotten good reviews. I was relatively popular with the students, not to flex or something, but very happy about that. But there's a site where you can I think it's called Rate My Teacher. And I think it's university. I don't know if it's college only, Or includes high school, possibly, I don't know. But basically, you can get on there and you can, and so you can look up who your teacher is. I don't know if such a thing exists for France, but it might exist where you live. If you're, in the US, for instance, I'm sure other countries have a thing like this, but maybe you're in the US and you want to go to whatever the school is, sign up. The school looks good. The program looks good. You can afford it. It's convenient for you to get to. But then they assign you a teacher. Maybe look and see, see what the word is. Maybe, and again, in fairness, the teacher who I went to the trouble to switch out of, I'm glad I got the one I got, because she's actually part of the head of the curriculum committee at Alliance Française Paris, who helps develop the curriculum and maintain it. And that's why I had a different book. We were trialing a different book than Susie used for the same class. So my teacher is like one of the people who helps decide, okay, here are the tweaks we need to make to do this more effectively. I met people when I was actually there who loved the teacher that I passed on. So they're like, oh, she's great. I love her style, blah, 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 blah. So it's everybody's experience is going to be different. There are a lot of good questions recently. Annie Shenanigans was asking about my Alliance Française video, because I made a little mention that knowing Spanish had helped me, in my opinion, a little bit. Being a native English speaker helped me a lot with the intensive versus Susie. She's fluent in English, but it's not the second nature, and she didn't grow up surrounded by little artifacts of France and French in her culture like I did. So a lot of stuff was familiar to me, or I knew it, and I just had to transfer that knowledge to knowing it in French. So with Spanish, there are some words that are similar. I think I would have to, this is a great ChatGPT question. There are probably a lot more cognates in English and French than there are Spanish and French. I'm just kind of guessing, but there definitely, I'm sure there's some, and actually I know there are some, grammatically pretty similar on the basic present tense. French gets weird, and when you get into the more complicated questions, the more complicated tenses, French gets really, really tricky. And then you have the formal versus the informal. And often the rules are different. And like there's specific nouns where the modifier goes either before or after, and that might change depending on tense. We're not language experts, clearly. We're here learning it like a lot of you are who watch this. But in general, Annie Shenanigans mentioned that she had learned a tiny bit of Spanish, and I already commented to her. And among other things, I basically, I think that will help you. I think it won't hurt. It won't hurt that you know a little bit of Spanish. Also, the fact that you have experience learning a second language already, that's going to definitely help. I want to call out our buddy Slick Salmon. He comments all over the place, was on the live with us last week, and I don't see him today. He's in the US. And so this is a tough time for people in the US, unless you're a crazy night owl or you have to get up super, super early if you're East Coast based. But Slick Salmon's commented here on my personal channel follow the link to the filmmaker page. So thank you for that. We appreciate you. He mentioned he strongly endorses courses by someone named Paul Noble. He emphasizes and leverages the student's knowledge of English to learn French. In fact, you emerge from the first few lessons with a vocabulary of about 6,000 cognates. And again, most of you know, cognate is a word that is like the same or really, really similar in two different languages, right? He also notes that the French verb structure maps to English quite nicely. And so I said, we got to track it down. He said it's available from Apple iBooks. It costs essentially nothing. It's 20 hours of audio instruction that you follow in 20-minute doses, and it's impossible to fail. I'm its greatest advocate. And I told him that he had me at hello for this. So we're going to have to check out Paul Noble ourselves. I haven't had time to since I read Slick Salmon's comment. But thank you. So Slick Salmon suggests that you go check out some Paul Noble. And and he says it's audio books, like 20 minutes. I was talking about Pimsleur last time and how the Pimsleur audio method helped me. It helped fast track my Chinese back when I was focused heavily on learning Chinese. My Chinese used to be better. It used to be about as good as my French is now. I can pronounce certain things. I know certain words, but Susie gives me credit for good pronunciation of what I know how to say, but I don't know how to say a lot. But Pimsleur was a big fast track. It taught me the basic greeting, politeness. Hello, how are you? My name is this. Nice to meet you. Where's the bathroom? I'd like a beer. Usually it's I'd like a beer. And then 10 minutes later, where's the bathroom? They say that you never buy a beer, that you just rent it. And I think that's true. Sorry, my little joke derailed me. But Pimsleur helped me a lot. So it sounds like that Paul Nobles thing is a similar, maybe kind of a more modern Pimsleur. Family of geniuses. Thank you to you as well, a new follower and friend. To Susie's Duolingo French commented, "You're my new hero. I really appreciate your curiosity, tenacity, and willingness to share your thoughts with strangers on YouTube. Plus, you're able to joke in multiple language. Such an inspiration to two people in the U.S. learning French. Thank you, family of geniuses." And yes, my wife is funny in now 3 languages. She's naturally funny. She finds little word plays in French when we're learning French. And her English, she'll always have a funny little twist. And it's a real skill. I've said this. I've known a few other people who are also funny in a second language. That's a hard skill.
Thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I'm scrolling through here. Slick Salmon, if you want a shortcut, if you follow a user and see their comments, Slick Salmon's comments on our videos is like a great fast track. He's always like dialing right into kind of the heart of what a video is about. He commented on another video about a short about politeness saving the day in France, which is from Susie's Alliance Française video. There's a short. Yes, politeness is the key to French cooperation. It's something American tourists don't understand and typically not. And I told him, if we want to really be controversial, we do more videos along those lines, basically how not to be a bad tourist. Maybe we should do that video. I mean, we have other videos we want to do a lot more, and there's only so many hours in the day, but that's in my idea bucket list category that could be useful. So I'm skimming. And some of you in the Duolingo video that Susie did, we asked people to comment how many words in their scores they have. And there's several comments. Eric Arnell said, bravo, Eric, 2,191 words in Duolingo with a score of 54. And he says that I see his picture. Eric's a guy here. Maybe it's Eric Carnell. I thought it was Eric spelled CK, but maybe his name's Eric Carnell. Hi, Eric. He said he's spending a lot of time in Duolingo practicing conversation review, so I'm not progressing through the units as quickly. He's got, what's got 2 thumbs and agrees with you 100%? This guy right here. Me too. And that's what I do. Even when I do put some time in, that's typically what I'm doing is I'm practicing stuff that I already know. But I do need to get on a progression again because I'm embarrassed that I'm 5 years deep and I have a 23 score. Joanne Young mentioned on the Duolingo video that Susie did that Susie has a big advantage because of having total immersion. You can practice anytime, anywhere when shopping amongst the natives. And that's funny because we use similar phrasing ourselves sometimes. So thank you for the congratulations.
Yeah, that's the advantage being here in France. But I mean, it's actually not that helpful until I reach certain level. So like I said, in my class, in my school, there's so many people here in France. They've been living here 7-8 years. They only speak a little bit better French than I do. So I mean, I think it's like I said, it's a learning language is more like a lonely journey. Yes, you spend some time practicing with real life people, but mostly at the beginner level, it's you, it's me, we spending time alone practicing, and I think that's the key for us at this level.
Absolutely. One of the metaphors is it's like having a gym membership. Everything you need is right there in the gym. They've got trainers, they got the weights, they got the machines. If you're lucky, they have the nice, recovery stuff like sauna and steam room. But if you don't go in there and do the work, you're not going to get any effort. It's a famous bodybuilder, Ronnie Coleman, former multi-time Mr. Olympia. Great documentary online about him. I think it's on Netflix. Amazing guy. He's so funny. And his trademark phrase, his trademark line, right before he's preparing to try for a new personal best or like the heaviest lift on a rep, he'd be all, I'm not gonna try to imitate him too much. He'd be all like in the middle of it, deep, sweaty as hell, just like blasted. His body's torqued, and he's got some huge amount of weights. And with this training part, he'd scream, "Everybody want to be strong? Ain't nobody want to lift these heavy ass weights." And then he'd do the thing. So follow Ronnie Coleman's advice. If you want to be strong, you got to lift those heavy ass weights. And learning language is definitely a heavy ass weight. Lynn Marie L. A few days ago. Hi, Lynn Marie. She had said hi to us. Sorry that she missed the live chat we did. Hopefully, Lynn Marie. She said she just watched the replay, so hopefully you watch this replay because we're shouting you out, my friend. She mentioned she joined Rosetta Stone, used it about a week, and then she heard about Duolingo and decided to switch. She said she also supplement with Pimsleur CDs from her library. Highly recommend Pimsleur, as I've already discussed, and online classes. And mentioned that, budget is a factor. So again, your library, if budget's a factor, be like Lynn Marie, go to the library, see what resources. They definitely have a lot of books at your library. They probably have some CDs, maybe even some old tapes. They might have to dig out of a back room if you have a tape player, however you like to listen to stuff. You don't have to buy the fancy downloads or whatever. And again, Lynn Marie, depending on, I'm sure if you're watching this to hear this, you heard the first part. Our friend Slick Salmon recommends this Paul Noble's series, which to me, and I've got to check it out. I'll verify this because I'm real curious. That reminded me. I didn't even tell you about that. That reminded me to tell Susie, oh yeah, we got to check this out. But from how Slick Salmon talks about it, it sounds like that Paul Noble stuff is maybe sort of like a Pimsleur thing. So I'm a big fan of checking that out. And I'll also mention Lynn Marie is in Atlanta, my hometown. So shout out ATL. She mentions that the AF class, the Lance Française, the AF classes they have there are progressive, thematic, or refresher. No intensive offered. She said that I said, give us a comparison. So she tells us that Atlanta, the classes for members, you pay $75 to join for a year. And we paid something to join for a year, which gives you access to the facilities, the library, whatever. So the initiation to French is $189. That's 2 days. It's 4 hours. Then the A1 classes are broken down between A1.1 to A1.5. She said each class is 3 hours over 8 Saturdays. So it's 24 hours for $504. She said the cost to complete all A1 levels would be $2,520 US dollars over approximately 10 months. It says possibly longer because all the classes are offered every 8 weeks. So you even converted to euros. I just now saw that. She converted to euros for us, current conversion to euros, 2,164 euros. So thank you for that. So yeah, that's that pace. What Susie was saying. So again, Alliance Française example that they break it down.
Yeah, I think for beginners, absolute beginners, I think this pace is normal pace. Do you need time to process? It's like when we eat, we want to enjoy our food. We don't want to rush the time we need time to process. Or it's like when we go to a concert, we want to enjoy the music instead of a fast playing. Fast forward everything. It's exactly. Yeah, I think 8 months is good.
Yeah, and especially that she mentions, it sounds so those are geared toward 3 hours on Saturdays. So you could work a full-time job or do a full-time something else, and then you carve out that little window on Saturday for your class, and then you practice, Sunday through Friday on your own. And gives you time to really soak up your lesson, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
In Paris, Alliance Française has intensive A1 is 1 month, semi-intensive is 2 months.
Yeah.
Much more spread, but like a normal pace is a 1 semester, which is 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, they have longer term classes too at Alliance Française here. We just been focusing on what we took.
Yeah, I think for weekends, people need more time to go to work. They only have time on weekends. But for if people has time, if they can study during the work days, I mean, for 4 months, 3 to 4 months is also normal.
Yeah, I think that pace works. The prisoner wrote us and mentions there was the question that Susie asked in the video. Tell us basically about your format. And Susie said, "Hi, Susie. All units are not equal. I've been using Duolingo for 205 days now, and I'm currently mid B1 on 83. I guess." Yeah, bravo to the prisoner there. And goes into some detail in the comments. So everybody you can read any of these comments, of course, for yourself. I'm just looking at actually that same page on the Susie's Duolingo video. But basically the prisoner, there's a photo that looks like a historical. I don't know if that's their photo. I think that's maybe some photo they like. I don't know if it's a he or she, but we'll say he for the sake of not linguistically tripping over this. Basically, he's saying that he had a plan. He originally estimated he could start at A1 and get to the end of B2 in 6 months, doing 2 hours a day. But doing experience using Duolingo, revised the plan to 9 months and then further revised it to 12 months because all units are not equal. He mentions at first 1 unit progressed me 1 point, but then 1 unit only made me half a point. Then I need to do 3 units to progress a point. And she verified that for me. She said, yeah, it's different now than in B1, right?
At the beginning, I think A1 and A2, when you do story, it's just a story. You finish the choose the multiple choices questions. But for example, in B1, you have to write down 1 sentences. They ask you a question and you answer that. You have to type it and you have to think it. So that takes more time.
Yeah, I'm just popping. We don't have any live comments to address. So our friend Slick Salmon, again, I mentioned he's bringing the gold and the questions. He had asked on one of the shorts from one of the shorts that talks about Susie's new school. He said he's interested to hear more about the differences in approach between the two schools. Is it just that her new school moves at a more manageable pace than Alliance Française, or does it have different points of emphasis? And I think it's really the pace, right? I mean, wouldn't you say it's really the pace of how the lessons are broken down at Centre Française is what's sort of better for you?
My current school is, let me say the similarity first. I think no matter which school you go to, if it is a good school, it's always more about practicing than teaching. Because yes, the grammar is difficult. There are so many vocabulary, so many words out there. But these stuff, vocabulary and grammar, you can learn by yourself. This is not the most difficult part. The most valuable part of all these classes are practicing. You listen, you talk, and you practice with your classmates. The back and forth conversations. These are the most valuable thing you pay for, actually. And these are the similar experiences in both schools. The difference is that in Alliance Française, there are less students. At my current school, in one of the courses, because the teacher is popular, the time schedule is more suitable for most people. So in one of my classes, there are way much people there. So not everybody has the opportunities to practice. But still, you have the opportunities to listen, right? You have the opportunity to listen other people talking. That has some value too for us too. So the difference is that because at my current school, we have much more time. So we can basically use more time to practice. We're not in a hurry to we have to finish this and we can't repeat this. In my current school, because repetitions are so important, and our teachers are usually has a lot of patience to repeat until you remember, until any of us in the class don't understand, couldn't remember, and they would spend time trying to make sure everybody remember this, not understand. Because in Alliance Française, the best you can do is probably try to understand and then process this later after school. But in my current school, because we have so much time, we can just repeat that, practice that, try to remember that at class. So it's I feel like I get more from these pace.
Yeah, I think there are pros and cons to both, but I said it before. I'm very glad that you discovered that school. Let me quick housekeeping live on camera. Can you go to about 10 after? Because it's a minute after 1 now, and I haven't.
Yeah,
there's still
I
not.
need to.
Do you have about 10 minutes to
Yeah.
sort of wrap this up? Okay, so we won't have a chance to get through all the comments that we sort of thought we would. There are a lot of nice shout outs and thank yous, and so thank you to everyone who's had something to say. And I wanted to. Let me scroll down to the oldest comments because I did want to shout out a few of the people who jumped on board really early with us. That's important to us that we say thank you to everyone who's here and the people who've been here and kind of gave us the encouragement sort of right out of the gate. So just sort of, yeah, it's only us posting for a while. Trinity 1022 has become a YouTube pal, planning a move from LA, which is where I'm from, with her young son to France. And we've connected now on Instagram and such. So I see they're more in the south of France. They're not coming to Paris. And she's already, I forget what she said, her level in one of her earlier comments. Yeah, she already speaks at like a B1/B2 level, and had questions about experiences making friends or meeting people. What's that been like? And so there's a long-winded answer I give under her comment, and that's on my Americans Moving to France video. So you can check that out if you want. I want to thank Aiko Snoops, which, as we've learned, is Patricia. So hi, Patricia. Aiko and Snoops were her dogs, and so her username is in honor of her two beloved dogs. And Aiko has just had all kinds of great. Patricia has had all kinds of really great insight and support. It was on the live last week, so thank you. I know it was really, it's really bad timing for people in the U.S. to do these lives. So many people, and if I skip you, it's just because I'm in the time rush here because Susie's got a heart out. In English, you'd say accent Norwegian. Hi there. He has a new channel like us, and he's Norwegian, focused on, he already speaks good French. He doesn't have he's just getting his channel started. It's not even quite as big as this yet. But I will tell you that I like his videos because he's speaking French. He speaks French very well, and he talks about how he learned French, and he has some really great tips. So if French learning is kind of the main reason that you're watching us, accent nor the way it's spelled in his language, it's accent Norve with a accent mark, ACCENT NORVEGIEN. And you can find his comments. He comments on several videos. The 3 Homes, 1 Baby, 0 Clue video of ours is where he started. But he speaks really easy to understand French at a moderate pace. It's very clear because it's a second language for him. And he's teaching you in French how to approach learning French. Really find his stuff valuable. There were a few other people I definitely wanted to shine a little light on because you've been really great to engage. Vin et fromage shouted you out last week. You get another shout out because you invited us to lunch when you're in Paris. And the Americans moving to France video. It's Daniel. We've established he's a he. He had specific questions about the timing, the visa application process, and the rental, and what would be sufficient. He had this question from my video. This is part of what we're going to get into in that relocation roadmap that I mentioned at the top of this. If you're tuning in late to this live in real time, we're going to be doing a PDF, basically a PDF book that we'll make available on videos that it'll be the top link on everything, as well as a free quick start guide. If you're thinking about relocating, like a checklist, basically, of things to think about, questions to ask yourself to figure it out. But the relocation roadmap will break that down in great detail. And I addressed under Vin et fromage's comment. I addressed that in some detail. If that's a question you have, we had some really nice comments on our Copenhagen and some Danish folks, Flexion3, and basically talking up his hometown. I'm not sure if he's from Copenhagen, but he knows it very well. I had a lot of comments on the Europe in Paris #1 Copenhagen wedding. He had several comments detailing things to see and some interesting questions. And we had several Danish people join us from that. My friend Lee Chen Norman, actress from LA. She's in my film, The Unwinding, as in photos. She is the deceased wife of the lead character. And so she gave me photos from her life. So Lee Chen is in The Unwinding, although she's not live on camera. Her photos are in it. And if I ever get to make that feature film, Lee's playing that part because it's actually a part. Heather Whittington, I shouted you out last week and we'll shout you out again. She was asking about the costs of the mandatory health insurance for visas, and I addressed that again, Americans moving to France. But so many nice comments. And I think there's one more that stuck in my brain that I wanted to shout out before we kind of wrap things up. And we also shouted you out. You joined us last week. Is Xian Wei Lanier? Xian Wei Lanier, I think, is how you pronounce your name. But they are also a multicultural couple. She's from Taiwan. He's from the U.S. So they're a similar multicultural couple who moved here to France. And it seems like we have some good overlap. And she shared her learning methods. We discussed that in last week's live. You can check that replay in some detail. But thank you for being here, Xian Wei. If I'm trying to pronounce everyone's name right, if I have a sense of a name. So listen, we have to wrap it up. Susie's got some business to handle in the big city of Paris. Oh, hi, Noah. Noah, if you have a question, I see in the chat. Noah gave us a hello. If you have a question as I'm wrapping up, please type, and we'll get it in here real quick. But we want to thank everyone for joining us today who could join live. There were people kind of popping in and out throughout, and a lot more of you will see this on the replay. I want to remind you that my Duolingo video, which again is differentiated very much from Susie's this time, we'll look at it at the pros and cons, what it's great for, what it's good for, what it's not good for. And we'll get into that along with some tips of here's how to use it, as Susie talked about in her video, how you integrate it into an actual overall language learning plan. Please do, if you like this, please give us the like, and you hate to beg for subscribes. If you're watching this, you're probably subscribed already, but if not, go ahead and, as Shane Hummus says, gently tap that subscribe button for us. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to build this channel because we want to keep being able to do this bigger and better and more for you folks. So thank you for watching, and à la prochaine. À la prochaine. Noah, I didn't see your comment, but if it pops up after the fact, we'll write you directly. See ya.